With the Miami Dolphins in town looking for their sixth straight win, the Denver Broncos found their winning recipe just in time to play spoiler as they battled their way to a 20-13 win over the Fins. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for another edition of Broncos Beat. I'm Alexis Perry, and joining me today, we have Cecil Lammey from 104.3 The Fan, James Palmer from the NFL Network, and Chris Trapasso from CBS Sports. Guys, it was arguably the most complete showing we've seen from this Broncos team so far this season. From the offense to the defense, special teams, and coaching, the Broncos truly were the better team on Sunday. We usually start with the offense, but I think it's fair to say that this defense stole the show, holding the Dolphins offense to just 167 passing yards, 56 yards on the ground, sacking Tua Tagovailoa 6 times, and eventually forcing Brian Flores to bench his rookie starter. What was Vic Fangio's game plan heading into this game, and what impressed you guys most about the execution?
Yeah, Vic Fangio against the rookie quarterback means pressure, means swarming, it means confusion, but most importantly means stuffing the run first, because teams with a young quarterback will usually try to run the football to calm their young QB down, and we've seen teams have great success running the ball against the Broncos. So, we'll talk about the swarming pressure, we'll talk about the play of the secondary, but I think it began with just making sure that they didn't get off running the ball so that you could bring that extra pressure, and we saw that pressure get home against Tua time and time again.
Yeah, I think you're right, Cecil. The other part I like about this is that we're starting with Vic Fangio, because I think the coaching staff on that side of the ball definitely deserves some credit. Tua said after the game, I was confused. There were times that they mixed it up, and I didn't really know where to go with the football. And a lot of that pressure up front came because of the way they were playing in the secondary. And they were a lot of coverage sacks in this game. I think they were a physical defense in this game. I think that played a part as well. But I think the way that they came in, they wanted to pressure him more. Cecil's right. That was part of the game plan, to pressure even more. They actually dialed that back a little bit from what they were planning on doing for the way they prepared during the week. And I think it was because of what Vic Fangio saw, the feel he had, which we'd have to remember, one of the better defensive minds in all of football. I think that coaching staff deserves a lot of credit, Chris, for the way they prepared this group for a young quarterback.
Yeah, and I liked what I saw watching this game and how they schemed their blitzes. They blitzed Tua around 53% of the time, but they were late blitzes, safety rotation right before the snap. It wasn't obvious that they were going to bring that extra rusher, but they would bring a corner or a safety after the snap. So it really confused Tua into not knowing where the football should go and where the pressure was coming from. So overall, Vic Fangio and this defensive coaching staff did a great job scheming those blitzes to get home.
Heading into this game, the Miami Dolphins were the favorites, given the fact that Tua Tagovailoa had looked outstanding in his first 3 showings in the NFL. But this week, Denver's defense made him look like a rookie. What was really the big difference for Tua this week?
Well, to me, it comes down to, again, stuffing the run, but just kind of confusing Tua. He's an experienced quarterback. He played at Alabama. We know the type of competition that he saw at the college ranks. At the pro ranks, that hadn't really happened yet. He wasn't really asked to do a whole lot in those games, and he was efficient. He was effective. He's a very smart quarterback, but confusing a young QB, giving him some things that he's never seen before. And as we've been talking about, like, they actually had a plan to do more, to be more aggressive. But I like that. I like being the aggressor, kind of taking the bull by the horns, if you will, and leading the way with your defense. It's a plan that worked out.
And what happens when you confuse a young quarterback? What do they want to do? They want to use their legs, buy some time, find some space, find some green to maybe start to figure some things out. They didn't let him do that. They were able to kind of keep him in the pocket, try to figure things out from there, stay in their lanes, and then start hitting them. I do think, and a couple of guys up front believe this as well, when they started getting physical with Tua and getting to him and hitting him, because he was hit quite a bit, it did rattle him a little bit and change it. But when you don't allow a quarterback that loves to use their legs and get out in space and extend and find different ways to make something happen, if you don't allow that to happen, that's an added aspect of making them feel even more uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I thought the safeties played outstandingly. Obviously, Justin Simmons has the early interception call back, the game sealer at the end of the game. He and Kareem Jackson, I thought, did a great job keeping everything in front of them. That if they were going to allow Tua to complete a pass, it was outside the numbers where there was minimal yards after the catch, near the sideline, and in front of the sticks. There were not a lot of completions over the middle of of the field at the intermediate level. And I think that's because Justin Simmons was really patrolling the middle of the field and not allowing those completions that could move the sticks, create those explosive plays. That's what Tua wanted to do, that when they weren't rolling him out, giving him easy throws, they took a couple deep shots that just weren't there. So beyond the blitzing, beyond the one-on-one play of Bradley Chubb and Malik Reed containing the edge and getting a lot of pressure, I thought the safeties did a great job not allowing that explosive play over the top.
Well, Vic Fangio is now 18-8 going up against rookie quarterbacks in his career. But speaking of Coach Fangio, he said that he actually believed that if they executed their game plan well enough, that eventually they would see Ryan Fitzpatrick in this game. We did see him. How did you guys see him really impact this game? And how was Denver's defense able to kind of combat him?
Well, they went back to being a little less aggressive. You saw when Fitzpatrick came in, the pressure wasn't a problem for him. He was getting rid of the ball quickly, making good decisions generally with the football. And he was also taking some big shots as he was delivering the football, even in his own end zone as they were backed up late in the game. But you saw that steady play from Ryan Fitzpatrick. So it was great for the team to be ready for that. And then also to kind of flip that switch from going hyper aggressive against a rookie to more conservative, backing off just a little bit against that veteran quarterback. Bend but don't break. They almost broke, but they didn't at the end.
It was interesting that Vic Fangio said that. He actually, a lot of the cut-ups he's watching, Cecil, were Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Because you're watching all of these games, and he played the first portion of them. So he was able to see Fitz quite a bit, but to put that together and think that he's going to go out there and play is a little bit interesting. In my opinion, the reason they made the switch is he runs the 2-minute better, right? He's more prepared and has a greater knowledge of how that offense works. He's been with those guys at a couple of different stops, so he knows how it operates. So when you're going to go and you're down and you got to run 2-minute, he's going to run it better than Tua right now. That's just clear and obvious. But he is aggressive, and I think Cecil's right. The adjustments they made to a different quarterback that they know is going to take chances, and that's when they started talking on the sideline. All right, we know Fitz is in there. He's going to take some chances. We got to find a way to make a big play. And Justin Simmons ended up doing it. And I think it was the right guy, as Lexa said, to get some vindication for the one called back earlier in the game.
Yeah, I think it's a sign of a defense that's very well coached and doesn't just rely on one superstar to have a strong outing. That if you can go from 53% blitzing the first quarterback and then only blitzing Ryan Fitzpatrick 3 of the 19 dropbacks that he had in the fourth quarter, but still same philosophy, keep everything in front and then lull him into a throw that's probably too much of a tight window for Ryan Fitzpatrick at this point. Great coaching and just great complementary football up front and in the secondary by the Broncos.
Okay, really quick around the horn, defensive game balls. Cecil, let's start with you.
Deshaun Williams, anytime you can stuff that run and get that pressure like the big man did, love it. He's been undrafted in the league for years, out of the league last year. Broncos pick him up, a great find and a great play in this game.
I was going to say that because obviously it's a clear one. So I'm going to flip it a little bit. I'm going to say Bill Kollar because of the number of guys that they have had on that defensive line that they've had to replace time and time again. I think this is a guy that's one of the best defensive line coaches in football. Still talks to guys like J.J. Watt regularly. That shows you what they feel about him. I'm going to give Bill Kollar a little props for what he's done up front.
Chris?
I'll go with Malik Reed. He had a sack and a half, 2.5 tackles for loss. For being an undersized, undrafted player, he's really become a valuable chess piece, can play off the ball, and we've shown in this season that he can set a strong edge and he can get after the quarterback. I really think that Vic Fangio loves moving him around on the defense. He had a really good game yesterday.